what you gonna do, Yacht Dollar? Or Crypto Bull God and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you?
Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is the recorded on Wednesday, airing on Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 Crypto Bull God podcast. You can find me on Twitter, TradingView, and YouTube at Crypto Bull God. I really don't have time for this podcast today, but I love you people so much that I'm making time for you for this podcast today. Hey everybody, I'm in the corner over here. Can you see me? I've been waving my hands up and down. Hey everybody, don't freak out. Woo! Don't freak out. Don't freak out. I think we've bottomed. I feel pretty confident that we had our capitulation moment. Don't get emotional. Is anybody listening to me? This is what I've been saying for weeks. And the amount of emotion in this market is a perfect example as to why most of you will not make it. You're getting emotional. Actually, I want to touch on, I want to get into that a little bit later on the emotions. But let's actually just get into some charts here and kind of talk about a few things that, more specifically, that I've spoken to, in particular with Bitcoin, because as I've shared with everyone, and anyone who's been in this market for some time and knows what they're talking about, Bitcoin is the driver of value. Do you find me repeating the same things? Those of you who have been here for a long time, by the way, I didn't say this, but please, for the love of God, as a content creator, it helps me enormously if you can take a second and just click the thumbs up button, please. Seeing 200 views and only getting 25 likes is just not good to see. I want to see something closer to 200 views and 200 likes. Or give me a thumbs down and let me know why. Either way, click the thumbs up, click the thumbs down if you don't like me. It doesn't matter to me. Leave a comment. I love engaging with you. I'm really behind on the YouTube comments. I got to catch up on that. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. So let's get into everything here. So as I've said, Bitcoin is the driver of value, right? The way that Bitcoin goes, in general, the way the rest of the market goes. Okay, if Bitcoin goes up 500%, your altcoins are going to go up a bazillion percent. If Bitcoin goes down 90%, your altcoins are going to go down 99%. Okay, you follow the logic here, right? So I think it's important to elaborate on something. I've gotten a few people who have reached out. I've had family members. I've had people on Twitter DMing me. And it's specifically related to this entire death cross situation. That's what I want to spend a little bit of time talking about. What is a death cross? What is a golden cross? Death cross sounds pretty fearful, right? Like if you just hear the name, I mean, it sounds a little intimidating. Sounds like you better freak out, get emotional, and tweet angry tweets at me. That's what it sounds like to me. So what a death cross simplistically states is that on a daily chart, what we're doing is we're looking at a daily chart on Bitcoin, and the 50 SMA, simple moving average, is crossing below the 200 SMA. It's a bearish signal. And typically, if you go back in Bitcoin's history, when the 50 has crossed below the 200 SMA and has resulted in the death cross, it has resulted in a bear market. And it's also something that I said specifically what I'm going to be looking for to signal that we could be entering a bear market. But I'm a pretty consistent individual. You will find this about me. I would like you to tell me otherwise if I'm not consistent. I'm pretty consistent. Anyway, I've said that we are not in a bear market. We're in a we're in a massive bull cycle. We're getting some bearish price action. The only thing that would make me start to get concerned is if we got that 50 SMA cross below the 200 SMA and the price action was still below the 200 moving average. I'd be a little concerned at that point, and I've stated such. And historically, that has resulted in a bear market within Bitcoin. The only point in time, let me scroll back through the chart and make sure. I thought I looked at this earlier. I want to make sure that I'm keeping myself honest here. Yeah, the only time that point did not apply would have been March 2020. So we did get a death cross, but then very quickly we had a V-shaped recovery and we recovered very quickly and got above the 200, back above the 200 SMA at the end of April. And then the 50 crossed above the 200 SMA to create a golden cross in the middle of May. So a golden cross is exactly the opposite of a death cross. A golden cross is where the 50 SMA is crossing above the 200 SMA, okay? And if you think about it intuitively, and it signals bullish price action, if you think about it intuitively, and let's just say you're not a math person, what are we actually saying here in layman's terms? I'd like to think actually one of my strong suits is being able to take technical things and relate and speak to them in a non-technical sense. A 200 simple moving average, very simplistically stated, is it's looking at the prior 200 days, taking an average of the price to come out with this line that's trending over time. What's the 50 SMA then? Well, it's just literally taking an average of the price action over the past 50 days to create this line that kind of moves over time. So what are we actually saying here? If the 50 SMA is above the 200 SMA, all we're saying is the average of the more recent price data, the more recent 50 days of price action, is higher in price relative to historically what's happened in 200 days. Conversely, if we've created sort of a longer average, a historical average, a trend of 200 days of price action, and the more recent 50 days of price action is starting to hit price levels that on average for the more recent 50 days is lower than what we've historically seen in the past 200 days, well, that's when you're going to get the 50 crossing below the 200 SMA. So that's really all that's going on here. So a couple things on this whole death cross thing, because a lot of people are real concerned about it. First off, this death cross, I tweeted out, it took me like 3 minutes this morning. I just calculated on average the rate of de-acceleration or downward trend in the 50 SMA, looked at the upward trending trajectory of the 200 SMA and calculated that, we should get, or not that we should get, but there may be, I should say that. That's a clear distinction there. If things continue the way they are, it is possible that we could see a death cross sometime between June 17th and June 19th. Okay, that's what I've currently calculated. I know other people have calculated other things out there, and I think my dates correspond with that, but I calculated June 17th to June 19th. But a few things to keep in mind. First off, the death cross hasn't occurred. Secondly, as soon as a death cross happens, the prices aren't going to spiral down to 20,000 or 10,000. It's not what's going to happen. Third, I just signaled to you that we had a fake out back in March 2020. So it's not like with a 100% certainty. There is no 100% certainty in anything, right? I've stated this time and time again. I told everyone who's been listening that I felt extremely certain and positive that we bottomed at 30,000, but there is no certainty in life besides living and dying. And so we could go lower. I'm not saying that. I provided you 6 empirical data points to lead to a convicted hypothesis that we're nowhere near the top, but those 6 data points could all be wrong and they could be invalidated. There's a probability for that. So just keep that in mind. The death cross has not happened. If I had to take an educated guess on what's going to happen, I think the 250 are going to kiss. They're going to get real close together. Maybe they touch. I don't think there's going to be a true cross. Maybe the 50 goes slightly below the 200, but I think we're going to start moving up in price action and get at and above that 200 SMA soon. That's my own view. We are having some nice bullish action today. As I'm recording this, Bitcoin's up over 11%. We're up over 37,000 right now. But yes, stay tuned. I will keep everybody updated on Twitter. But again, I think the other thing that's leaving me, or not I think, but the other thing that is leading me extremely confident and why I'm just so unemotional and why I feel so convicted, and I'm trying to share my viewpoints with everyone so that you would consider it in your own independent analysis of what's going on. It all goes back to the TA video I released 2 submissions ago on YouTube, okay? And what was the title of that YouTube video? The title of that YouTube video was Why Crypto Has Not Topped. And in that video, and again, I'll leave a link in the description if anyone hasn't watched it, but in that video, look, I've done my own homework. Education is power. I've done my own homework, and I've assessed these 6 empirical data points that are telling me that the crypto market has not topped. We've not reached our euphoric top. And I've said, look, I lean towards us topping sometime between Bitcoin, topping sometime between September and December. But I think the quote-unquote worst-case scenario is that we actually top in the first half of 2022 and this thing extends out. How's that a bad scenario? I want you to just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Forget everything you know. Forget everything you know and just think of this. If you imagine yourself as a person, okay? I'm literally closing my eyes. So close your eyes with me, please. Close your eyes with me. Imagine yourself as an individual who has spent countless hours studying the cryptocurrency markets. Just imagine that you've done all this homework. Imagine that you're very analytical. You're very analytical. And imagine that you are someone who exercises realism. Okay? You're a realistic sort of person. And you have located 6 different data points that are all telling you, they're factual data points, they're empirical data points, and they're all leading you to the same exact conclusion. Wouldn't that leave you feeling convicted? That's exactly where I'm at. Okay? That is where I am at. And that is why I have not gotten emotional. So many people have reached out to me. It's interesting. A couple months ago, back in, I'll just pick a point in time, April, early May, it felt so easy to make money in cryptocurrency, right? Should have been a warning sign. Should have been a red flag. People that I never spoke to about crypto before, but knew I was into Bitcoin, okay? Because I don't openly share things with a lot of people. They would say things like, yo, have you got into Dogecoin? I don't know why I say Dodge. You get into Dogecoin? Yeah, what about Dogecoin? I know you're into Bitcoin. You see Dogecoin? Oh my God, yeah. People reaching out to me, knowing at least that I'm in cryptocurrency. How do I get into this? How do I buy? How do I get set up? There was so much euphoria in the market. And let me tell you what a shift we have taken within the emotional stratosphere of the cryptocurrency market. Now what I'm hearing when if cryptocurrency, the topic of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency has come up, This is what I've heard personally from, again, people I don't talk to even regularly about cryptocurrency. Oh, yeah, I lost a lot of money in that. Or, oh, yeah, I heard somebody lost a lot of money in that. Oh, yeah, we're down a lot. I've gotten a few angry tweets. I've gotten a few interesting DMs. I've had a family member and a couple other people reach out to me and question if they should be selling everything and waiting for lower lows. I mean, these are the clear signs. Here's the thing. Having the education that I have and feeling extremely convicted that we haven't topped, this is the sort of sentiment that you see within a market, within the retail sector that are, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but uneducated. And you are allowing your emotions to control your decisions. How many times, again, consistently, I'm very consistent. How many times have I said, how many times have I tweeted, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, emotions are a money killer. If you allow your emotions to control the decisions that you're making, you will fail investing in this market. You will not succeed. If you allow your intellect and your hard work to rule the day and to guide your decision process making, you will do well for yourself. I can speak to that. I've done well for myself in this market, but it was not easy. I have made so many awful mistakes early on. So many. And that's why I really feel for people. I really do. I feel for people that I can see the emotion coming out and saying, you know, there's someone who I follow on Twitter. I just commented recently. Somebody commented on a prominent person on Twitter saying, you know, I respect you, but how can you be so bullish in an environment where my cryptocurrency, you know, this project's been down 70 or 80%. Has anyone been paying attention to the TA video that I posted where I talked about Ethereum and how it had a 70% drop in the 2017 bull market? If you sold your Ethereum at $50, I think it bottomed at $50 at that 70% drop. This is off the top of my head. If you sold at $50 and didn't ride that thing up to 1,200 or wherever the heck it topped, 1,500, 1,200, you would have been hating yourself. But again, you know, this is why I'm here. Like, I am here to genuinely help you. I'm an analytical person. I analyze the data, and I just share with you what I see in the charts. I definitely have fundamental knowledge. Don't get me wrong. Fundamentals and technicals are two different things. I have a very strong technical background reading charts, but I also feel that I have a very strong fundamental understanding of several cryptocurrency projects, as well as the overall market and the disruptive nature to which it's providing everyone who chooses to invest in it and use the innovative technology that it's providing. But the emotions right now, I'll tell you, the worst thing you can do, the worst thing you can do is sell into fear and buy into a hopium environment. If you're selling into fear, I mean, you're literally doing the exact action of feeding into a direct emotion. You know, even if, I've said this before, even if you felt like the markets were going a lot lower than they are now, you'd want to see a dead cat bounce and then scale out. Why would you sell on a massive drop like this? And again, I guess some of this, not I guess, but I know some of this comes down to people just, you're not able to read charts. Some people, I think some people feel like they can read charts. They look at a chart or they've spent a little time and then they feel like they can get a little dangerous. The reality is, for the people out there who are really good at reading charts and technical analysis, they've taken classes, they've done education, they've spent thousands of hours. They've done paper trading before they actually traded any real dollars. Maybe some of them traded with real dollars, but a small amount. And they've had a lot of battle stories to talk about. Don't think you can get it dangerous and start reading a chart without doing something professional to actually learn about it. But I'm here to tell you that the emotions within the market right now are so fearful that, as I said earlier, the more and more I've seen this negative sentiment on Twitter, and man, when my family member reached out to me and this person said what they said, and then I'm hearing in the actual like real life outside of Twitter, people just telling me things about people losing money and it's not doing well, and is that a thing to really get into? And just the negative sentiment, man, if you know what you're doing, this is the time to be buying, okay? In my opinion. None of whatever I say is financial advice, but this is the time you want to be buying. Again, you got to ask yourself, like, seriously, just try to sometimes exercise logic and common sense. Why do you think most people that invest in things like this, of course, this is a generational wealth transfer opportunity. This is not like most other things. But I still have a good point here. Why do you think most people that invest really in anything don't do really well? Why is that? There are far fewer people in existence who make self-sacrifices to study and become educated in what they're invested in. And the markets and technical analysis, all the technicals and the fundamentals, and they have a almost like a 360 panoramic view of everything. And most people come into this market naive, not knowing what they're doing, and it's showing right now. It's showing, and all I can do and all others can do is to try to continue to spread sound, logical education throughout the community. I will never promise you that everything I say or share with you will come fruition. I can't promise you that. Unfollow me if I'm doing that. But what I can promise you and what I can guarantee you in my content is that I'm providing you logical analysis. I'm providing you analysis that is coming from someone who's extremely passionate about this market, who's has a very sound analytical background, and who has spent a lot of time in this market and is very well educated in it. And I feel very confident that the analysis that I provide to you is value added to your own personal approach. You know, the last thing I want to comment on with emotions, I made sure to jot this note down. I wanted to hit on it. It was one of the most impactful things anyone has ever shared with me. Back in the day, my cousin and I used to hang out quite a bit more. Well, not even quite a bit more. I mean, he lives in a different state now. But we used to hang out quite a bit. And, over the years, we definitely became very close. And, we always had really great conversations. And one of the things that he shared with me that stays with me to this day, and I've actually spoken to it in relationships that I've been in, is it has to do with emotions and intellect. Okay? So think about yourself in a relationship. Maybe you're married, okay? Your spouse. And let's say that you're in a heated argument. If your emotions are very high and you're very angry, your intellect, okay, you can't see me because I like to do the podcast audio. I have my emotions very high, my hands very high right now. Guess what happens with intellect, okay? Right hand emotions very high, left hand intellect very low. So the point is, if your emotions are very high, your intellect drops off, and there have been studies done that show this, okay? And intuitively, that should make sense. The key is to kind of level out, okay? And for those who can't see me, I just leveled out my hands. You want to level out. You want when you're in a heated argument, one of the best things you can do, based on what I've researched, is you can take 10 minutes apart. You take 10 minutes apart, somebody goes to a separate room, you agree to give it 10 or 15 minutes, and then you come together when your emotions are down. Now, as the emotions come back down, the intellect, the reasoning, you being rational comes up. It elevates, okay? You can translate this to what's going on in the market right now. There are so many people who are just fucking angry. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, what the fuck's going on? Well, if you're very emotional, I mean, there's a lot of questions you should be asking yourself, quite frankly, if you're that emotional or that upset. Do you have too much invested? Did you get into this market too soon and invest too much without knowing anything? Did you think this was a get-rich-quick scheme? But the point is you got to find a way to drop those emotions off, because only then, when you're less emotional, will your intellect and your reasoning and your rationality, will that reign supreme, and there's a balance there, okay? It took me a long time to get to this point, and that's why I can sympathize with many people out there who are not there. I've been there, and I know it's a challenging place to be in when you're allowing your emotions to govern your investing decisions. And all I can tell you is, I would tell you two things. I hope you continue to follow me, because I'm very genuine and authentic, and I feel like I have value-added analyses to add to your own thought processes. But yeah, the first thing I would say is follow good content creators. Be very mindful of who you're following. And secondly, and most importantly, again, education is power. Carry the education forward. What do you think all that adds up to? Well, it adds up to me having the mindset that you need to have self-accountability, ownership for your own decisions. Learn, educate yourself. You got to take ownership for your own investing decisions. And it takes a long time to get to a point where you feel as comfortable as myself or some others in the community feel that they're invested in, and they see the big picture, and they know about the FUD articles, and they know about the bull and bear cycles, and they're real comfortable with all this stuff. It takes a long time to get there, but education is power. Take it on yourself to really go down a rabbit hole and learn as much as you can. So really, self-accountability and get some real good resources, and hopefully on one of them. Those are the two things that I would share with you. As far as the chart of the week, I have a feeling the chart of the week is going to be the same for a little while now. Chart of the week's Bitcoin. I mean, all eyes on Bitcoin. All eyes on Bitcoin. I really want to see us get back up and retest this blue zone that I've had highlighted now for a while, which is around the 41, I think it's, let me see here, 41,300? 41,200. So in between 41,200 and 43,000, I want to see us get back up into that area. The 200 SMA, another key basic premise in technical analysis to keep in mind, has to do with areas of resistance and support that I've mentioned. What I've said is when an area of support breaks and you fall below it, it then acts as an area of resistance to get back above it. Well, it's the same thing with a moving average. We broke below the 200 SMA right now, which is sitting at 42,000. Oh, geez. 42,000 is going to be a big area for a test here. So the 200 SMA at 42,000 broke. So now that was support, but now it's going to be resistance. So not only do we have, there's a lot of confluence at 42,000. I mean, I'm seeing that. Not only is the 42 to 43,000 area an area of confluence with prior price action that's going to act as resistance, but now the 200 SMA is right in that area. So once we can break, look for 43,000. Once we can start breaking above 43,000, I'm not saying it's all signals go, because we still have a descending line of resistance I've posted about on Twitter, but it's a very bullish sign. So just watch for that. But definitely the chart of the week here for a little while, I think, is going to be Bitcoin. I don't know that there's going to be another chart that comes along. I wrote down Twitter questions. I'm noting that I forgot to post anything to ask any questions that anyone has on Twitter. Maybe it's better that I didn't, because the emotions are quite high right now. Real quick, I want to deviate from crypto and just wanted to talk about something else real quick that was on my mind for all you sports fans out there. I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I just wanted to quickly, I know this is quite the transition, right? But I just wanted to quickly say, I am happy that Carson Wentz is no longer the Eagles' starting quarterback. This has nothing to do with him personally. He seems like a really great guy off the field. It has nothing to do with him personally. I'm sure he's a great guy. He's an incredible guy, does stuff for the community. I don't doubt that. I'm talking about professionally. This is strictly professional football. This guy's a crybaby. I couldn't stand his attitude. If you watched his press conferences, he was always making excuses, never took accountability. Regardless of them drafting a quarterback or whatever happened, the person I want representing my city and my team is somebody who says, you know what? You drafted that other quarterback. I'm going to rise up to the challenge. I'm going to do what I need to do, and it's on. It's a competition, and I'm fighting for my job. Nobody else is stepping in for my job. This is my job. But that's not what he did. He curled up like a little baby. Excuse after excuse. He played piss poor last year, despite whatever you want to say about the wide receivers or the offensive line, whatever you want to say. Guy played piss poor, okay? Piss poor. I could not stand his attitude. Could not stand it, and could not be more happy that he's gone. Could not be more happy that he's gone. And I don't know anything about Jalen Hurtz because I'm not a college football person. But what I will say, knowing his background and the underdog mentality, and so far what his attitude has been, I am much more appreciative and hopeful for him being a better fit in the city of Philadelphia. I'm the sort of person, look, I'm not going to argue. I don't know enough about both quarterbacks to say which one has the better intangibles, but I think there's a lot to be said about the heart of the individual and the fight within that person. And I love the attitude and the story with Jalen Hurtz. Dude's an underdog, and I love it. I love it. And I think just based on that, based on his attitude, he's a better fit for here. So I'm excited to see what he can do for our team. And I'm excited that Wentz is gone. So I know there's at least one person that's listening, a couple people actually that are listening, that are Philadelphia Eagles fans. So I'd be curious to hear your comments below. But I could not stand Wentz's attitude. Guy's a fucking poor sport. Fucking poor sport. He's a poor sport. And I think anyone with just a competitive appetite wouldn't have curled up like a little baby like he did and whined and complained so much. So anyway, we're going to get off that topic. And, I'm going to leave it on that note, actually. So for anybody who hung around and decided to listen to me talk about the Philadelphia Eagles there for a little bit, thank you so much. But in closing, please join me in a moment of silence for all of those I attempted on multiple occasions to get into crypto and have remained ignorant. Thank you.